In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Volvo 850 continuous flow heater system, especially the heater core. Of course, like in all cars, the heater system works off of the coolant that flows from the motor. So, when your car's starting and running, your car heats up and that hot coolant runs into the cabin area of the car, and 9 times out of 10, very few cars have the heater system outside of the inside of the cabin area. But on the Volvo, the motor is here, and you have hoses. Those hoses are right there. Those hoses run into the heater core system of the Volvo. Some cars have shut-off valves out in the engine compartment. The Volvo 850 does not. And this is a visual of the heater hoses connected to the motor and running back past the motor and into the firewall. And as you can see, there is no shut-off valve to stop that coolant from flowing into the cabin. So the entire time that the car is running, hot coolant is coming in through those two tubes right there. You see those two black tubes? In most cars, those tubes are aluminum, silver. They go into the bottom of the heater core that you can see there. That's the bottom of the heater core, and that's the box. Well, that hot coolant is always running through there, and there's always heat on demand in the system. You cannot stop that coolant from running into the car unless you disconnect the lines outside and cap them off or route them together, which some people do when they have a leaking heater core. So, your duct system has cavities. This plastic part is part of the duct system. This is part of the duct system. And part of the duct system runs through the dash and over to the driver's side, over to the passenger side. This hooks up, connects to the dash, and the dash has duct system running within it that delivers your air throughout the cabin of the car. And then these two tubes will route the air toward the back seat and under the floor area. Now, when you take your controls and you route your controls to hot air or cold air, what this does is it opens up a door back there. This is a manual system. So here you can see I went to cold and it closed off a flap. You can actually see the shadow of it. So right now the hot air is closed off from the duct system. When I take this knob and turn it to warm, you can see that shadow moving. It opens up the duct system to the warm air and allows the warm air to come from that heater core. And this is the passenger side, and the other side is the driver's side. Now, the driver's side is closed. That's the duct system for the driver's side. And the passenger side is open, allowing warm air to come into the passenger side. When I turn the knob to cold, it closes off the passenger side, and the driver's side is closed off. When I turn it to warm, it opens up the ducting so that you can get hot air into the system. So, that's how this system allows hot air and cold air to be cycled through the duct system. Now, you have a center control that controls whether air moves to the window vents or to the floor vents or to the face vents. That's a whole nother thing. But I wanted you to know that you can control warm air getting into the duct system by moving those levers. And in the ECC system, it has little electric motors that cycle those between the heat and the cold, and it may stop at any given place. So, let's say you've been running cold air and those little flapper doors are closed. And we know that coolant constantly runs into the heater core behind the dash. Well, if you have a minor leak, which means a little bit of coolant is leaking into that system, and you turn these knobs to demand heat, that will let the warm air from that heater core start to flow into your cabin. If there's a little bit of coolant in there, from it being a coolant leak, you will get a whiff or odor of coolant. The core may not be leaking bad enough for you to need to replace it, or to be leaking a lot of coolant under your carpet, but it may be leaking a little bit enough for you to get a odor or whiff of coolant in the cabin. Now, all of these systems have a recycle or a fresh air option. That happens behind your blower motor. Right here, you got a little motor that controls the recycle or the fresh air system. And when you flip that switch to recycle, this motor's activated and it closes this door behind the blower and it shuts it off from fresh air. As you can see, there's light behind there, so that light means that it's set for fresh air right now, which is the Volvo preferred standard setting. They don't want you running recycled air unless you're in a situation where the fresh air is contaminated, like going through a tunnel or being in a real dusty or smoky environment, and you don't want to suck that air from outside into the car. Now, normally your blower motor fills that hole right there and takes air and circulates it through the cabin. And right here is your fan resistor, which is held in by one screw. And on the outside of this, some cars have a cabin filter installed to stop dirt and debris from getting down into your fan chamber. And right to the inner side of that is your air conditioner condenser evaporator. So, not your condenser, but your evaporator is located right here. If you have a cabin air filter stopping dirt and debris from coming into the fan area and blowing into your evaporator, you're normally better off. So, if you don't have a cabin air filter installed in your car, you may want to get one and install it. Now, I do have a video showing you how to remove and replace the cabin air filter, but normally there's a plastic piece at the base of this windshield that covers up all of these parts for your windshield wiper and things. And also under there is the chamber that feeds air into the cabin area. So all of the air goes through here, the fresh air, past the fan, through the air conditioner evaporator, and through your ductwork. So if you don't have a filter here, you may want to get one and install it. That's one of the first things I check when I get a car, because I don't want dirt and debris getting sucked into my fan, wearing my fan out, getting pushed through my evaporator, clogging up and contaminating my evaporator. Once you get a cabin air filter in there, you should replace those every 20,000 miles, or I normally do it every year or two. If you happen to open up and you see you do have a cabin air filter and it's clogged up, simply replace it. I've seen them to where they were so deteriorated that they will fall apart in my hand. So you do want to keep a good cabin air filter there and replace it every 18 months or 20,000 miles. Now, if for some reason you suspect that you have a heater core leak, what you can do is remove the lower panel from the dash, remove the side panel, pull the carpet back, and see if there's coolant leaking off of that heater core, and that coolant will go under the carpet. Now, the carpet has some kind of backing on it, almost like a plastic backing. So your coolant will run under your carpet and get into your carpet padding. It will not run on top of your carpet. So, to check for a leak, you're going to have to pull your carpet back and get your hand or something down under the carpet and see if your padding is getting wet, or see if you see any evidence of wetness on the bottom of your heater core there. Again, on your MCC cars with the manual controller, your knob actually moves a lever on the side of the unit to get these air ducts open and closed. You can see it moving back there. And on the ECC units, which is the automatic climate control, they have little electric motors that open those doors and flaps and move them back and forth. Here's a view of the MCC system. As you can see, it doesn't have numbers on the dials, and it doesn't have anything that says auto, and your fan selector has numbers. And MCC simply stands for manual climate control. And this is an ECC unit, electronic climate control. It has the temperature numbers, it has an auto selector here, and it has a gradual slider to control the fan speed. So those are the two differences between the controllers. And it also has an auto here. This one actually looks like it may be from a 93 or early 94. And that's the recycle button. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.